Famous zombie films from alternate timelines that never existed here, Volume 1. Today we're diving into Echo Vault records of non-Romero zombie echo films, 1970s to 1990s, that were produced in alternate timelines. These are not Romero-directed, not made in our timeline, and are high-impact films in their respective strands, on par with Zombie, Return of the Living Dead, or Dead Alive in influence and cultural memory. Let us unlock Echo Vault Segment 7, Shadows of the Shroud, which catalogues alternate timeline zombie films that reshaped or redefined the genre without Romero's hand. Vault Records, notable zombie films from Echo Timelines, non-Romero. Alternate Timeline Zombie Film 1, Midnight Transmission, 1976. Directed by Susan Larimore. Country, USA. Genre, supernatural tech horror. Summary: a pirate radio station operating out of an abandoned naval base begins broadcasting strange frequencies that cause the dead within a 15-mile radius to rise. But these aren't shufflers. They retain fragmented memories, are drawn to emotional sounds, laughing children, lullabies, and speak in reverse. The protagonists are underground DJs and ham radio fanatics trying to trace the source of the signal. Tagline: you are now tuned in to the wrong side of silence. Echo Timeline Designation, Echo Strand 7Y, Kansas Pulse Timeline. Historical Divergence Point, 1968. A failed early satellite uplink attempt between the US and USSR in 1968 creates unexpected electromagnetic harmonics that permanently alter low-frequency radio behavior in the central United States. This event, known in that timeline as the Cicada Wake, disrupts ham radio culture and fosters belief in resonant dead zones. Core historical shift. Instead of satellites becoming tools of global surveillance, they're feared and deprioritized, leading to a golden age of analog radio well into the late 1980s. Pirate radio, shortwave mysticism, and ghost signals dominate fringe culture. Kansas becomes a kind of silent heartland, believed to harbor dimensional rifts. Cultural impact. This energy fuels a wave of audio-based horror, from haunted broadcasts to corpse reanimation via signal. Midnight Transmission becomes the first film to literalize this belief, and it reflects fears that modernity is broadcasting death itself. Mythic implications. This strand is audio-thin, meaning voice, song, and silence have more power in shaping reality. The veil bends more easily when activated by frequency than by sight. In these zones, dream radio bleed-through can occur. 6 notable scenes. From this alternate timeline film, Scene 1, a DJ slowly bleeds from the ears as he listens to a frequency no one else can hear. His dying breath mimics a child's laughter in reverse. Scene 2, the underground DJ collective debates whether continuing the broadcast is awakening the dead or keeping them calm. Scene 3, a crowd of semi-lucid corpses gathers at a playground at midnight, swaying to a lullaby broadcast on a pirate signal. Scene 4, a blind girl uses her heightened hearing to trace the original signal, discovering it originates from a Cold War submarine wreck in a cornfield. Scene 5, a reanimated soldier tears open his own chest cavity, revealing a cassette tape turning inside. Scene 6, the protagonist confronts their dying father, who rises mid-broadcast and mouths a forgotten radio jingle they once shared. Film impact, a cult hit in its world. Midnight Transmission launched a wave of radio-based horror films and is often quoted for its eerie tagline, "You are now tuned in to the wrong side of silence," considered the spiritual predecessor to Carpenter's Prince of Darkness in our world, but darker, weirder, and more mournful. Alternate Timeline Zombie Film 2, Ashes of the Living, 1982. Directed by Derek North. Country, UK. Genre, Gothic post-war horror. Summary: set in a bombed-out version of post-World War II London, where the Blitz never ended. A secret chemical testing program to resurrect fallen soldiers causes a slow, creeping zombification of the East End. The zombies are rotting but quiet. They whisper nursery rhymes and gather in empty churches. No one knows where they're coming from. The horror is as much political as it is paranormal. Tagline: they were promised peace, they came back whispering war. Echo Timeline Designation, Echo Strand D2, London Ash Arc. Historical divergence. Point 1941. In this world, Operation Celian, the Nazi invasion of Britain, is never launched, but a second phase of the Blitz lasts until 1944 due to failed peace talks and internal UK sabotage. The East End of London becomes a desolate war zone, never fully rebuilt. Core historical shift. Post-war Britain develops a complex, ongoing trauma around reconstruction. Urban decay is romanticized. Children grow up surrounded by half-collapsed buildings. The horror genre becomes introspective, grief-driven, and centered on decay as resistance. Cultural impact. Zombie cinema becomes a metaphor for war's lingering corpse. Ashes of the Living embodies this perfectly. Not a plague, but a slow, civil decay. Its nursery rhyme zombies are children of the Blitz returned in mourning. Mythic implications. This Strand's veil is soot-hung, dreams bleed through ashes, and memory anchors linger in objects. Spirits of war dead drift long after peace treaties. Spirit contact through material artifacts, gas masks, ration books, ashes is common. 6 notable scenes from this alternate timeline film. Scene 1. A foggy East End alley reveals shadows singing a wartime lullaby as the silhouettes decay into eyeless children clutching ration tins. Scene 2. The main character discovers her missing brother's dog tags inside a wall, and the wall bleeds. Scene 3. A skeletonized soldier in full uniform rings a cathedral bell at midnight, summoning the whispering dead. Scene 4. A forbidden sermon is held in a bombed-out church by a preacher who claims the dead aren't lost, just homesick. Scene 5. A gas mask melts off a revenant's face, revealing nothing beneath but fog and war medals. Scene 6. A dying grandmother confesses she participated in the original chemical trials to bring her fiancé back, but he came back hungry for songs, not food. Film impact. Revered as the UK's definitive zombie film in its world, often studied in film schools. A chilling metaphor for grief, abandonment, and post-war trauma. Think Threads meets Let's Scare Jessica to Death. A famous quote from the film, "They came home in pieces, they just didn't stay buried." Alternate timeline zombie film 3, Carnival of the Hollow Sun, 1986. Directed by Jonathan Rossiter. No relation to the talk show host. Country, USA. Genre, neon freak horror. Summary, set during an endless twilight in a decaying amusement park, a freak chemical storm causes the dead mascots, clowns, and animatronics of Hollow Sun Carnival to come alive. Some with meat, some with wires. A group of latchkey teens are trapped inside during the final night of operation. It's unclear whether the entities are ghosts, zombies, or both. One famous scene shows a child hugging her undead brother, only for his cardboard skin to peel away. Tagline: When the sun dies, the dead come to play. Echo Timeline. Designation: Echo Strand J9. Americana Sundown. Historical divergence point: 1971. The 1971 Amusement Industry Act in the US provides massive subsidies for theme parks to stimulate family tourism during the recession. This causes an overbuilding boom, with hundreds of small and mid-tier parks built across America, most failing by the early 80s. Core historical shift. A landscape littered with abandoned theme parks becomes a common feature of small-town America. Urban legends rise around these sites, and teen counterculture develops an obsession with exploring ruined joy. Cultural impact. Zombie films in this timeline adopt a neon pastel, decayed Americana aesthetic. Carnival of the Hollow Sun becomes a cultural icon, not just a horror movie, but a statement about the rotting heart of childhood wonder. Mythic implications. This world's veil is paper-thin around nostalgia. Plastic, fiberglass, laughter loops, and animatronics hold spiritual echoes. Residual joy. Paranormal tales abound in this world about drawing the dead back in with music and scent. 6 notable scenes from this alternate timeline film. Scene 1. A carousel begins spinning backwards at dusk, revealing children's bones woven into the fiberglass horses. Scene 2. The main character, Jesse, finds his missing sister trapped in a coin-operated photo booth, slowly merging with film stock. Scene 3. An animatronic bear vomits glowing cotton candy and flesh chunks onto a shrieking crowd of teens. Scene 4. A dying clown confesses to being the original park owner, cursed to wander as long as the music loops. Scene 5. A cracked funhouse mirror shows a girl's reflection smiling, before lunging out, pulling her in. Scene 6. The group discovers that the carnival's lights only go out if someone truly forgets what joy felt like. Film impact. Carnival of the Hollow Sun became a staple of late-night TV in its world. Like if Return of the Living Dead and Killer Clowns had a haunted, synth-scored child. A VHS legend with glowing box art and video nasty status in several states. Alternate timeline zombie film 4, The Harvestmen, 1991. Directed by Linda Q. Shaw. Country, USA. Genre, agrarian folk horror, zombie fusion. Summary: a rural farming community faces an ancient curse when the Harvestmen, reanimated, mummified farmhands with stitched mouths and scythe hands, rise each equinox. They protect the crops but demand sacrifice. The curse is linked to pre-colonial blood rites and a dark entity beneath the soil. One by one, the town is forced to choose between feeding the fields or becoming part of them. Tagline: the soil remembers, and it is hungry. Echo timeline designation: Echo Strand F4, Midwestern Shiver Line. Historical divergence point: 1867. A failed U.S. federal land grant in 1867 leaves several regions of the rural Midwest outside official U.S. jurisdiction. Known as the no-blood counties, these areas retain pre-colonial and settler cult beliefs and bar modern agricultural tech well into the 20th century. Core historical shift. Modern America grows around strange, insular farming communities. These soil cults develop secret rites to maintain crop fertility, including rumored human composting and the use of ritual scarecrow saints. Cultural impact. The zombie mythos fuses with agrarian horror in this world. The Harvestmen represents a major cultural release, the first time the Scythe Saints are shown in cinema, breaking a century of silence. For many, it's considered blasphemous, even dangerous. Mythic implications. This veil is root-bound. Anytime the earth is turned, memories rise. The soil hears. The crops dream. There are even folk magic warnings from the more occult-minded locals that dying without ritual burial risks harvest walking, where the soul returns to feed the land. 6 notable scenes from this alternate timeline film. Scene 1. The Harvestmen rise from the cornfield in unison, scythe arms glinting under a red harvest moon. Scene 2. The young protagonist tries to flee, but sees that every road now leads back to the same barn, the town folding in on itself. Scene 3. A sacrificial rite is interrupted when a buried child awakens mid-ceremony and begins humming through stitched lips. Scene 4. A guilt-racked mother admits she offered her son to the fields in 1978 to end a drought. Scene 5. A scarecrow explodes with birds when struck, revealing it was made from the town's missing priest. Scene 6. The final confrontation occurs underground, where roots whisper names of past sacrifices, including the protagonist's unborn sibling. Film impact. Hailed as the most original take on zombies in its timeline, a major festival hit that won awards for sound design and practical effects, blends folk horror with biological resurrection. A field of scarecrow-like corpses is now a pop culture symbol in that world. Alternate timeline zombie film 5, Bride of the Glowing Grave, 1994, directed by Kana Mitsu. Country, Japan. Genre, tragic romance, bio-zombie. Summary: a young woman resurrected through a forbidden bioluminescent serum seeks her lost love in a radioactive ghost town. Her flesh glows softly in the dark. She slowly loses language but remembers music, the only thing that tames the hunger. She's pursued by corporate assassins, haunted lovers, and her own fading humanity. Tagline: she died of heartbreak, then she learned to burn. Echo timeline designation: Echo Strand L7, Nippon Necrotica. Historical divergence point: 1979. An early collaboration between Japan's Ministry of Health and a biotech firm called Kamimura Life Systems yields a promising anti-radiation serum, but side effects include bioluminescence and neurological fragmentation in lab animals. Leaked trials in Okinawa lead to urban legends of glowing ghosts. Core historical shift. In this world, Japan's techno-horror genre fuses with romantic tragedy. Biotech becomes a metaphor for loneliness. The glowing dead are depicted not as monsters, but as melancholy lovers. A new subgenre called necrotica emerges. Cultural impact. Bride of the Glowing Grave is the Casablanca of its timeline's horror cinema. The zombie genre is emotionally inverted. It's about holding on, not letting go. Its music, design, and aesthetics echo in everything from commercials to fashion. Mythic implications. This veil is light reactive. Emotions imprint onto light, not sound or matter. The energetic afterimage of a kiss may haunt a street for decades. Therefore, in fiction, necrotica beings shimmer not with decay, but with memory that refuses to die. 6 notable scenes from this alternate timeline film. Scene 1. The bride's glowing veins pulse through her translucent skin as she cradles her decaying fiancé's jawbone. Scene 2. She plays her lover's favorite song on a broken jukebox, and for a moment her heart beats again. Scene 3. In a nightclub shootout, her bioluminescent blood splashes across mirrors, which burn images of the dead into the walls. Scene 4. A rogue scientist records her final lucid words, "I dream in color now, but everything is blue." Scene 5. A child stumbles upon her singing beneath a Ferris wheel, her mouth torn open by glowing light, voice echoing from the stars. Scene 6. The ending shows her walking into the ocean, glowing brighter than the moon as the city's power grid dies in sync. Film impact. A romantic horror hybrid, often paired with Tetsuo, the Iron Man, in retro screenings. Huge cult following. The glowing bride became an iconic Halloween costume and pop idol aesthetic in that world. Line quoted endlessly, "If I forget your name, let the stars burn it into my skin." Some zombie films were never made here, but they were made elsewhere. In a timeline where the dead whisper through radios, wear wedding dresses of light, or rise from the ashes of joy and war. This has been Volume 1 of the Echo Vault, famous zombie films from alternate timelines that never existed here. We'll see you next transmission.